Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up in their names, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about worth, how much you're worth, and some things that you'll realize along your financial journey. So the first thing I want to start off by saying is that sometimes when you hit that financial plateau or that financial ladder that you're looking to climb, like I was speaking on previously, there may be times where you actually want to do more and you are capable of doing more. However, there may be other things within your role, or you may have just not shown enough to where others within your department, community, religion, whatever, embraces you in order to expand upon your role. They may believe that someone else is more suitable for the job. In that instance, you are then able to go out into the market, whether it's a different community, different friend group, different job market, and search for more, search for greater, right? And when I was going through my financial ladder and I got halted, I was told to stop, wait, assess the situation. There may be more, there may be less for you out there. When I halted, the first thing that happened was I was offered less. I was offered less than what I typically earn. Then I was offered just a little less, I mean just a smidge less than what I would typically earn. Afterwards, the same cycle continued. This is what was offered for X and Y and Z position. Then I started to get additional interviews for expanded roles that were higher in pay. And although I had interviewed for one position previously, I was being told I'm so qualified that they will extend an invitation for this, and that. And so those positions had a higher ceiling financially for me and a higher room for growth. And so I was overjoyed. I was excited now that after all of the yeses that stated, hey, you're worth this much, basically around that same level, I was then presented with a few yeses that said, you know what, we believe you're worth more. The question is whether they're taking a chance on you or whether they truly believe you're worth what you're worth. Regardless, is you now have the opportunity to venture off into this sector and figure that out. Now, obviously, if you are interviewing for a position, searching out other friends, looking at different churches, mosques, whatever it is that you're interested in, you have this innate idea or belief that you can do more, or you can do more of what you want to do within a new environment, within a new sector, within a new group. And so once given the opportunity, you now are allowed to start to express some of that. As for me, that was the same concept, right? Like, I can do this, I can do that. I'm not being afforded the opportunity to do this and that. And therefore, I must take matters into my own hands in order to fulfill that. But there was a point in time where I was starting to think, what if I truly am only worth this set amount at this time, right? Doesn't mean that you're worth that forever, but maybe they need to continue to see the skills, continue to see the development within the area, continue to see you have the understanding and knowledge. Although someone else may have skipped those steps doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be afforded the same opportunities to skip those steps, right? And I wouldn't necessarily call that an opportunity. I would call that a gap which should have been improved on prior to X, Y, and Z skipping those steps. But one thing about me is that I'm very competitive. And within that competitive nature that I have, you'll see that if someone else is allowed to essentially skip the line, why wouldn't you also not necessarily want to skip the line, but be held to the same standard as so-and-so individual? And so when that standard is not being upheld, right, when you're someone who follows these rules, these systems, these policies, you then start to question whether or not the policies, rules, and system only applies to you. So when I was a manager at Amazon, I'll give you an example. I had a lot of associates putting totes on the line. And for all of you who don't know what totes are, those are items that are specifically designed to go out for delivery, right? So I was on the packing station and we would ship out these items. Within those shipments, those would be all for the same individual, maybe multiple individuals. We would box them all individually because I was the singles pack managers. Therefore, every item was singly packed, right? There was stations for multi-pack, which had multiple items going out as well. I wasn't necessarily in charge of that station, but we did integrate that into the single station at some point in time. But what I'm getting at is we had a standard, one tote per person, because my team packed so fast that we would run out of totes. And so the people at the very bottom wouldn't have, and then the people who are all the way in the back, they'd be able to grab whatever is coming right away. And so their numbers stay pretty high and consistent. Whereas other people down below, they won't have a tote because there's none coming down the line. All the people at the back have already grabbed all of them before they can get to the bottom, essentially. And so what does that leave? That leaves a bottleneck. That leaves people not packing. That leaves people not being productive. And so I said, hey, you must pack everything out before you grab another tote. That way you're not grabbing two right away because they all come down in spontaneously, right? So not all at the same time, not all fluidly, right? There might be three coming down and then another three a little later on. So if someone grabs two, there's an individual who won't have the ability to grab one. And so that's all I was saying. So now when people gain favor with management, like they gain favor with me, I like the people that I work with. What would they do? They would start to grab two totes. They'll start to test the boundaries of what it is that they're allowed to do. And so I would then see others start to do the same process, right? Oh, if this person can do it, I'm going to do it too. And so before I address the second person who did it, you must first address the root cause, right? You must address the first person. And the reason for addressing the first person is because the first thing that I know I'm going to be asked is, how come so-and-so was able to do that, but not me, right? So as soon as I address the first person who decided to disobey or disagree with what instructions were given, I had to just simply address the first person. The second person immediately pushed the tote back on the line to go down the line. Why was that? Because they saw accountability. I did what was right by addressing the first person who decided they're not going to follow the same instructions as everyone else. And then once they saw that I held that person accountable, they no longer had a reason to feel as though they were being treated unfairly or differently. So there was no reason for me to address the second person now, because they now see that everyone, no matter how friendly I am, is held to the same standard. This is very important. This is very important because although I do this in management, there's not all managers who follow the same rules and guidelines. Not all managers are going to do this, right? There are some who are going to take that kindness for weakness, and they will use that kindness against you if, as long as you allow it, right? That weakness you allow. So I still exhibit kindness at all times, but I don't want to mistake it for weakness whatsoever. And so I do try my best to maintain that balance, speak to people like people, and let them know, hey, you know, we're all in this together. We're all going to follow the same policies. There is a little inkling of that within us that, hey, we're going to rebel, we're going to do our own thing. But if you hold everyone accountable, the ship will continue to sail. And so that's what I did. There was never any phones on the floor. There was never anyone who felt as though they were being ostracized from the group, that they were treated any differently than anyone else. And so because I held everyone to the same standard, because I was holding everyone accountable, there was necessarily no reason for someone to argue. I never ever heard, why is this person being treated so much better than someone else? Never did I ever hear that. And I'm so proud to be able to say that because, you know, the goal is to treat everyone equally, to treat everyone the same. And when you put your best foot forward, when you treat everyone like human beings the same, regardless of how often you interact with them, it definitely sets a standard for success. Now, not to get off topic, if you believe you're worth more and you're not being treated as such, or you're not being given the opportunity to do so, you can, one, continue to apply yourself to your situation. You can, two, look outside of your situation and see what your value truly is in the market, whatever market that may be. And then three, you can choose to do absolutely nothing. And, you know, I can't tell you what road to take in your life, but if you're watching this video, you probably have aspirations for something greater. And because you believe you are greater, and, you know, greater just means you can do more. And therefore, you go out there and you produce more, right? That's what success truly means to me. It's just the ability to do more, go above and beyond, produce more. And so that is my take on life. When people ask me, what is my motivation is success. My motivation is limitless. I have no bounds to my motivation. I have been doing this YouTube stuff for over a year, finally hit over 1,000 subscribers. My motivation is limitless. We're continuing to continue on. We're continuing to grow. We're continuing to go above and beyond, push the limits of what was set before me so that I can then break out of that and become more. I want to be more than I can even aspire to be, and then be more than that. So, again, if you're listening, you know, those are your three options. Comment down below if you see a fourth or fifth or sixth option. Let me know what those options would be for you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I'm not going to ask you to do all this like and all that stuff. Just subscribe if you like this video, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.